Welcome to the We Are Wake Tech podcast with your host, Wake Tech President, Dr. Scott Ralls.
Hi, I'm Scott Ralls, President of Wake Tech and the host of the We Are Wake Tech podcast. And really been anticipating and excited about our guest today, Adrienne Cole, who is the CEO, President, Grand Poobah.
President and CEO, yes.
CEO of the Greater Raleigh Chamber of Commerce, a close friend, partner, ally with
Yes.
Wake Tech, and also I'd say, you and I are close friends
Yes,
too.
absolutely.
We rarely interact outside of work scenarios,
Right.
because you work all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
All the
So
time.
there's not many outside work, but we've known each other for a while, interacted for many years, and it's so great to be your partner and
Thank you.
ally. And what a great friend of Wake Tech. So today's podcast is exciting because Adrienne's also our first guest on our podcast of a partner. We've anticipated and wanted to have partners for many podcasts, and this is the first time. And so Adrienne is a close partner in her work, but she's also a mom of
Yes.
Wake Tech students, so we'll catch that a little
Yes.
bit later as well. But Adrienne, thanks for
Thank you.
joining us. We're so excited to have you.
I am too. Thank you so much. I've been looking forward to this.
I'll tell you how we always start, is to find out more about you.
Oh,
and so a lot of times, typically we're interviewing folks who are from Wake Tech. And how did they get to Wake Tech?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now you're the CEO President of Greater Raleigh Chamber of Commerce. So how do you get there, and where did it start?
So my background, I'm a native to North Carolina, so different in that sense from a lot of people in the region. I was actually born in Raleigh, but raised in the eastern part of the state, and started my economic development career right out of grad school after getting a master's in public administration from Appalachian, a Meredith grad, so also a Raleigh connection there.
Shout out to Meredith.
Yes, shout out to Meredith. But started my career in eastern North Carolina, where I was able to see early in my career the importance of community college partnerships. So both with community college in Pamlico County, where I started my career, I was down in the county. I was the county planner and economic development director and department head of building inspections, emergency management, and 911, and I was the fire marshal.
Oh my goodness.
I was 25 years old, and as my father said, they couldn't afford anybody with any experience, and so they got stuck with me. But I learned a lot, and remember working with the community college in Pamlico County. Then my career took me to Carteret County, where I worked with, you might remember Dr. Joe Barwick.
Absolutely, one of my mentors.
He ran the community college in Carteret County, and we actually did a very neat project together. He had an interest in building a marine training and education center there to support the boat building and manufacturing industry, primary industry in that region. And I had gone to, so at this point I was I'd been the assistant director of the Carteret County EDC and then became the executive director of the Carteret County EDC. I'd been at a session about federal economic development administration funding, grant funding, and what they were interested in funding. And I thought, So I went and met with Joe, and I remember sitting across from his desk in his office and saying, do you have a project that you are looking for funding for? And he said, I want to build this Marine Training and Education Center. So I said, let's see if we can do it. And I said, what's your gap? He's like, $1.5 million. I was like, let's go for it.
Wow.
So I wrote a grant to the Federal Economic Development Administration, and it got funded for $1.5 million, which provided the gap funding so that they could build the Marine Training and Education Center at the Carteret Community College.
Yeah.
And so another intersection with community colleges, you and I knew each other from previous roles that you have had with the community college system. And then fast forward, my family and I moved to Raleigh when our first son, who's almost 21, like Sunday, he'll be 21.
Happy birthday.
And he's a Wake Tech student. When Will was a baby, we had an opportunity to move to Raleigh, which we did, and I ended up running Raleigh Economic Development here at the Chamber. So that would have been 2004 timeframe when I made that transition to Raleigh ED at the Chamber. And so that's when I first started at the Greater Raleigh Chamber of Commerce and began sort of my economic development work in this county and in this region. Did that for 7 years. Left and went into the private sector for 3 with a big global commercial construction firm. Came back to run Wake County Economic Development when the dear Ken Atkins retired, who was one of my mentors.
Great man.
Wonderful mentor and friend. And really thought that I was going to be in the Wake County ED role for the rest of my career. I thought, okay, I'm here. Did not expect to be a chamber president. Circumstances being as they are, Harvey Schmidt, also a dear friend and mentor,
Great man.
announced his retirement. They hired a young man from Florida who came in to be the president and CEO, but he really, Florida was home for him, and so he was only here for about 18 months.
See, I must have missed that. I must have been
You weren't here then.
Okay.
And so he was only here for about 18 months. And when I had not put my name in the hat to become CEO when Harvey retired. Tim came in, I worked with Tim. Tim left after 18 months, and then I thought, maybe I should.
there you
And
are.
got a lot of support from the business community, and that's been over 5 years ago.
Wow.
I know, an interesting path here.
Well, we're also glad you did. I mean,
Thank you.
When I came back to Wake Tech, I knew they had the best chamber president in the country and a close friend. So,
Thank you. I sure try hard.
and when you say chamber president, that's different things, different places. But
Absolutely.
The Greater Raleigh Chamber of Commerce. Now, Raleigh's the third fastest growing metropolitan region in the country right now. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so to be the president, CEO, of the Greater Raleigh Chamber in that kind of a dynamic environment is pretty unique. So can you tell us a little bit what does the chamber do? And then there's also the breadth of the different parts of the chamber.
Right.
Like I'm part of, on the board of RTA, and that's part of the chamber.
That's right.
So anyway, just give us a little insight
Sure.
to that.
And I appreciate the question because you are right in that chambers are very different depending on the community in which they are located and the needs of that community. And so I sometimes say you've seen one chamber because many chambers are meeting the needs of their communities in different ways.
And very locally community-based.
Locally community-based, very local. Our chamber is very regional, so Greater Raleigh Chamber of Commerce is a real thing, Greater Raleigh, and we run several different programs as a part of the chamber. You mentioned RTA, that's the Regional Transportation Alliance. We partner with 18 other chambers throughout the region, and it's about a 10-county effort focused on mobility, transportation, transit, and that's everything from air service to bikeways. We also are home to Wake County Economic Development, who we work with you all the time on. And so Wake County Economic Development is the county economic development program. We run that program, and it's through a partnership with Wake County government and the city of Raleigh and private sector companies that are invested in economic development. We support all 12 municipalities from an economic development perspective in Wake County, but then work very collaboratively with our partners in Durham County, Johnston County, and other surrounding counties, because we believe strongly that we are better together, and that if we are pursuing and working with companies in their growth collaboratively, that we're providing better service to those companies and we're putting our community forward in the best possible way. And so that's a real honor to be able to do that work. We also run the Triangle Diversity, Equity, and Inclusivity Alliance. That's a program that we launched in March of 2018.
And you've been very bold about that. It's not unusual for a chamber.
No. And it was really in response to the business community saying, we want to move forward in diversity, equity, and inclusivity. I had been participating in a group called the Triangle, it was the Diversity Business Council, and they were sort of a volunteer group of businesses that were meeting sort of loosely. They really were looking for a place to be incubated. We also had just launched our equitable economic development track within Wake County ED. I had just come in as CEO. It's a priority and for me personally, and so things sort of aligned for us to be able to launch the Triangle DEI Alliance. Brought on Danya Perry, who's now with the county, and so fantastic, came from communities and schools. He's still working and collaborating with us. We now have brought on Dr. Tori Staten, and Tori was on the faculty at Central and at Carolina and is now with us. Real privileged to work with her. And that body of work has just continued to grow as companies are advancing their work in that space. And what's been exciting is that we work with companies like Lenovo and BASF and others that are quite far down the road in their diversity work, and then we work with smaller companies that are just getting started. And these larger companies are able to share their expertise. We have a group of practitioners who meet, and the best practice sharing and the collaboration amongst companies has been really interesting to see. So we also run several leadership programs. We have a robust women's leadership program. We've worked with Wake Tech on the Wake Supports Women work, Wake Invests in Women work, which has been great. We have a young professionals network that we run. We do 2 Leadership Raleigh programs a year. And then we're working to support the needs of about 1,800 members.
Yeah.
So we have very small companies all the way up to our largest employers in the market.
Well, and there's so many ways we intersect. I mean, we're so, we're not part of the same organization, but we might as well be.
Right, hand in glove, that's right.
That's right. And before we go into that, tell me a little bit too. So let's, so we covered all of those different aspects. In some ways, they all relate to economic development.
All of them do.
Because I know we were talking about DEI. A lot of companies, they pay attention to what are we, where are we as a community when they're considering.
That's exactly right.
Going to that economic development role and the umbrella role with Wake County Economic Development. First, maybe tell us, this region is so dynamic. I mean, we've just heard recently, for the state, the state's now been rated the #1 state for business by CNBC, so that's big news. But, this region has just, and I don't know if we've ever seen a year like we've seen in the last year.
No.
So, and nobody knows that better than you. So tell us what's happened, what makes our region so unique, and then what's happened in the last year to 18 months is just
so special.
So special and unique.
Yeah, we announced 4 of Wake County's largest projects in the pandemic. In Wake County's history.
And a project being a company's announcing, we're going to make significant investment and employment.
That's right, create jobs and invest in Wake County. So, projects like Apple, Fujifilm Diosynth Biotechnologies, bandwidth expansion, Amgen, and we were seeing activity in terms of new projects considering the market at numbers that we had never seen before. 50 active projects, billions of dollars of investment, thousands of potential jobs. And what is has been also interesting is our hit ratio, we've always won our fair share, but we were winning more of those. So if a company was looking in our market, we were winning more of those than ding, 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 ding. And so in terms of trajectory, we're still seeing rapid escalation of projects. We're still in the billions of dollars of investment and the thousands of jobs. Our current project activity, it's a little quieter in the summer. I think that some of the folks that hadn't taken a vacation in 3 years are taking vacations for the first time, which is great.
That's good. Maybe we can catch up.
Yeah, exactly. I'm hoping. I'm going on Sunday. But so we have 37 active projects now. They equate to about $6 billion in potential investment and just over 13,000 jobs, which is significant. One thing that has been consistent since I came into the market to do economic development in 2004 is that we have been in an ascending market. What has changed is that ascension is accelerating. It's like someone has put their foot on the gas pedal. I'm not sure when the foot's going to come off of the gas pedal, if at all. However, that is contingent upon us continuing to do the right things as a community. You cannot take that for granted. You have to continue to make the right investments in education, in community colleges, in higher education, in transportation and transit, in infrastructure. If we want to continue to meet the needs of the life science sector, we have to be investing in water and sewer. We have to be investing in talent. We have to be mindful of open space. We have to be mindful of quality of life, of quality of place. We've got to be making the right policy decisions because business likes consistency. They don't like surprise. They want to be in a state that's working collaboratively together, which played into our recognition in the CNBC ranking. You ask me why and what's special. Wake Tech is. No, I'm serious. The fact that and this is not an exaggeration, Scott, and you correct me if you think otherwise, but we call you with every single economic development project that we work. And providing that customized industry training, or the opportunity to hire students, or the opportunity to do a special project. And, your willingness to be creative in meeting the needs of those companies, I think is truly unique. I don't know that companies find that the collaboration that they can access here in other markets. It's really special.
Yeah, and just to build on that, I think what's special, and we can relate to this because we kind of grew up in this. You in economic development in Pamlico. I mean, I started down that area too, New Bern.
That's right, where I grew up.
But North Carolina is unique.
Yes.
Because in North Carolina, there was a connection between economic development and education,
right.
particularly higher education.
That's right.
To change our trajectory out of poverty. 70 years ago, the only way you knew about Raleigh was when Barney talked about, going to Raleigh to party
right.
on nobody
Mayberry.
saw Mayberry. It wasn't like Raleigh was on the tips of tongues of the next or the big place. And we were poor in North Carolina. This region too was different at that time. And so, it didn't happen by accident, in my opinion. I think it was innovation, risk-taking, and investment and connecting education to economic development to lift us all up. So,
I agree. And you look at the history of the park, which is exactly what you're talking about, taking that risk and making that investment. I think and worried may be too strong of a word, what I hope is that we don't ever take the success that we are seeing now for granted. That worries me.
Yeah, me too.
Complacency. What a tragedy that would be. What a travesty if we have gotten to this place where we are really standing on the shoulders of giants who were bold and brave and made those investments.
And pulled us out of
poverty. And we now get complacent. I mean, I tell my economic development team often, when you cut your teeth in economic development in Pamlico County, and a 5-person job announcement of a small business coming into your community was a huge, huge economic development win, then you don't take any of the project announcements that we have here for granted.
Yeah.
And the company that's expanding by 10 or 20 or 50 people is just as exciting for this area as Apple coming in and creating 3,000 jobs.
Yeah.
And so different scale, different ripple effect potentially, but still job creating. Still important for the fabric of your community.
Well, one thing I wonder about, and you might think about this, is I don't think you're ever really standing still. You're either growing or you're dying.
That's right.
It seems like our hope is that we grow in a smart way, which also means continuing to do the things that people propelled us forward with in terms of investments and smart thinking. And we don't want to be a place where, if we're ever a place where you don't want to live, then we're not a place where you want to do business or have jobs.
Right, because companies are people.
Yeah.
Companies are people. And you've got people making those decisions. And so you want to create an environment where they can be successful today, but companies are also looking at, will these partnerships last? Will they still be there in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? Michael Haley, my colleague, who's the executive director of Wake County Economic Development, likes to say that we're the community of what's next. And I think he's right about that.
Yeah, that's a great thing to be.
Isn't that a neat way to look at it? And that also leads into sort of the innovation and the idea creating that's happening in our colleges and universities, in the entrepreneurial ecosystem here, that is so exciting. When you look at, Scott Wingo and what he's doing with the Triangle Tweener Fund and these high potential entrepreneurs that have the potential to be tomorrow's Pendo. And then how are we then supporting Pendo and Pendo's growth through programs that we have at Wake Tech and through other partners. I mean, continuing to create that community where companies can be successful. And I'll say that that's another area where the Chamber focuses. I didn't mention that we have a government affairs department. The Chamber's nonpartisan. We do not endorse candidates, we don't have a PAC. We work with whomever is elected to move the desire, the wishes, the priorities of the business community forward. And creating that, investing in the product that then allows the companies to be successful and to choose this place is very important too. Another thing that we're working on that we haven't touched on is talent recruitment. So we have the Work in the Triangle initiative that you all have partnered with us on too, where we are sharing all of the wonderful things that are happening in this community to people who might be living in another part of the country who may want to come here. Again, to provide workforce for the companies to supplement and augment the homegrown talent pipeline that we have here. And, leaning into what you said about if you're not growing, you're dying. But we've got to do it in the right way.
A smart way.
In a smart way. Yeah, in a heads up way.
Yeah.
And so we need to be honest about what our challenges are and then tackle them.
One thing I'd love for you to touch on, but before I want to ask you one other thing, but I'd love for you to touch on the Wake Tech role in that, because people hear about that and I'm always, we really do.
Yeah.
But you can kind of, from a other perspective, share that. But before we do that, what makes us, I think, also truly unique is the ecosystem that is here and the collaborations that are here. So that's why I want to talk about that before we talk about Wake Tech, because in the big part of it is that none of us individually are it, but we are a collection of very, players that have great resources. But I think our greatest strength is how we come together.
I could not agree more. I often have said that economic development at its best is a team sport. And we have in this community trusted partners. Trusted partners who we can call and say, okay, here's the company. This is what they're planning to do. These are their core drivers. These are the things that they're most interested in. How can we come together to put that puzzle together for them so that our area wins? And I often say economic development is sort of like a giant jigsaw puzzle. You're trying to put all the pieces together so that your community paints the picture that they're looking for. And the fact that we can come together as a project team, if you will, that includes Wake County Economic Development, Wake Tech, or maybe a college and university that has a program, another college and university has a program that they're interested in, whether it's NC State University or Meredith or Shaw. The fact that we can bring in Capillary Workforce Development Board to meet their needs. We may be plugging in Wake County Public School System on something that they want to partner. If they have a particular interest around a passion project for their CEO, we can bring in the nonprofit sector around that. Certainly we're able to bring in elected leaders and the town leaders in whatever community that they are focused on, and we're able to bring in the private sector to say, okay, this is what it's really like to do business here. And our private sector partners step up as well as part of that project team. I didn't even mention the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina, who were and state partners, and the Department of Commerce. And then depending on where the project is looking, we may be collaborating with Durham County and doing that project jointly. We may have Durham Tech in with Wake Tech in as a partner. And the fact that people are willing to set their egos aside and come together as trusted partners to really put our best foot forward, it sends such a strong message to the company about the community that they would be choosing.
I don't think you can really underestimate that.
No, you cannot, because when they see us in a very authentic way, presenting to them what we can provide for them, how we can work with them, and, getting to the announcement is just part of the job. The real work starts after they've announced.
I always just say the economic developers, they're like you get them on the hook, and then it's our job to clean and gut them after you call them.
Right.
But it's not really true. We're already involved.
That's exactly right. You're involved early, and we have to continue that partnership after they've announced so that they can become a part of this community, because we don't only want them investing in our community and hiring our citizens to go to work, but we also want them supporting us in philanthropy and becoming engaged members of the community, running for elected office, serving on boards, serving on your board, serving on my board, helping us chart the course for the future. And I think that when we, at the very beginning, at their first introduction to this community, they see all of us around the table there to answer their questions from the unique vantage point that we bring. It sends a powerful message to those companies. And to your point, I don't think that you can underestimate what that's like. But taking a step back from that, the intentionality in those partnerships is, I think, also something that can't be taken for granted. I mean, people don't realize probably how often we all meet.
Right.
To understand what each other is working on, what your stressors are and pressures are in your own in all of our organizations, how we can support one another. And so by the time we get to the economic development project, it's a group of friends who are coming together.
Yeah, you kind of set the tone because you're the conductor for us. But, I think one of the things that is unique here, and where I've seen it really just be special, is when we're all, it's not when we're doing like individual presentations.
No,
it's when we're
together.
all there in front, and it's like we're riffing off
That's
each
right,
other.
you're tag teaming.
And so it's, State and Wake Tech, and it's not like State plus Wake Tech, it's Wake Tech and NC State.
That's exactly right.
It's Wake Tech and Capital Area Workforce Board. It is how they come together, and when they see us, doing that together and strategizing on their behalf.
That's right.
Together.
Oh, we can do this, or we can do that,
Yeah.
or Scott, you all are really excellent at that, and that's coming from somebody at NC State.
Yeah. And they realize this is not the first time we've gotten together. So it's
Heavens no. Been doing this for
well.
years, and I tell people often, I cannot claim credit for that. That harkens back to leaders like Harvey Schmidt and Ken Atkins, who said, we're going to work collaboratively with organizations like the Chamber, Wake County ED, Wake Tech, NC State University, the Department of Commerce, but we're also going to work collaboratively with the Research Triangle Park, with Durham County, with Orange County, with Johnston County, to put our best foot forward. And we're going to come together on a regular basis to build those relationships.
Yeah. And I like to even go back further and, not to get too geeky on this, but back to the days of, Governor Luther Hodges.
Yes.
Where it really was about, we have educational assets, or we need to build educational assets, which were community colleges at the time, and then have them work on behalf of prosperity. And so it prompted for all of us, whether you're myself or whether you're Randy Woodson over at NC State, that you don't really have any internal debates about, is that appropriate? Is that what we should be doing? Is that true?
It's a given.
It's a given. And so when that happens, it's like you drop everything.
That's right.
And you come together.
And we've seen that. I mean, I can't, for your viewers and your listeners, when we have an economic development project that has a unique need or a unique some training, specific training that they need, or a specific program that they're trying to stand up, and we reach out to you, and in a very creative way, you respond. Oh, we can dedicate a person to that. We could provide office space at Wake Tech for that. We can provide a customized industry training program for that.
So can you give an example?
Fujifilm.
Okay.
Diasynth Biotechnologies, for sure. One of the huge projects that we announced over the past year, one of the largest in Wake County's history, building a very exciting campus, first of its kind in North America, over in Holly Springs. And I honestly do not think that we would have been successful with that had we not been able to put the partnership together that we were able to put together to support their future growth in this market. So thank you.
No, I mean, we were part of the team.
Yeah, it's huge.
We played our part, in our role, but it wouldn't have happened without all the other team members.
But it's so important and cannot be taken for granted, because they, not only in the recruitment process felt like, wow, this is a community that's coming together to support what we want to do, but now that they've broken ground and they are starting construction out there, they continue to feel that. They continue to feel that this is that community that's going to support their growth in the future. And think about, so go forward, that industry in particular, you have people who are working in all different different types of training and certifications, some with 2-year degrees, certifications on up to PhDs. You look at the gamut of people that they're going to hire, and really high quality jobs too at the end of the day, and that's what we want in our community. So thank you for your help.
Anytime. That's part of our role. We're always there.
Really appreciate it.
We're honored to be part of that team. It is a very high performing team.
Thank you.
And we play our role, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thinking about roles.
Yeah.
So you have another role. So there's the role when you were Adrienne Cole, who we see on podcasts and television and standing in front of conferences, but you're Adrienne Cole, mom.
Yes, first and foremost.
First and foremost. And we like that too, because you're the mom of Wake Tech students.
I am.
So how do you see Wake Tech as a mom?
Goodness, such a gift. So I have 3 children. And my older 2 chose to start their college path at Wake Tech, and it has been tremendous for them. It's been tremendous from a confidence building perspective. It's been tremendous in helping them figure out what they want to do when they grow up and chart their course. They've formed strong relationships with faculty members. I've been bowled over by the amazing faculty that you have at Wake Tech.
They care a lot, too. You can tell they're
care a lot.
Experts, but they care a lot.
And they're accessible.
Yeah.
When one of my children has a question and they email the faculty member and the professor emails them back and really is invested in their success, it's huge. And the classes are hard. And so there's rigor, right? And it's college. And, but it's my older son, who will be 21 on Sunday, which is kind of hard to believe. He's very close to finishing his associate's degree, and he's choosing an interesting path that I don't know that he would have found had he not gone to Wake Tech. So, but I also don't know that his path is, I think students' paths are evolving. They're not, when I went to high school, it was high school, college, boom, 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 boom.
Timelines.
All of that. And I love that we're giving, I think, students more freedom to sort of explore. So Will is close to finishing his associate's degree. He also started working at a startup company locally that builds parts for off-road vehicles. So he does custom headlights and bumpers and fabrication, and he's been learning how to do all of that. He also, at Wake Tech, has started taking welding classes because that's part of the fabrication process, and he wanted to develop that expertise. So now he has decided that he wants to finish his associate's degree, transfer to finish a business degree for a year with a focus in entrepreneurship, because working in the startup, he's been doing all the things, and finish his welding certification because he really loves it and wants to also have that. He never would have found such a cool path had he not started at Wake Tech. And he's even interested in talking to the folks over at the Hendrick Center for Automotive Excellence. So he's pumped about that.
He's got it figured out. It's just going to be interesting to see.
Yeah. But he's so jazzed. Yeah. And this was so in full transparency, Will has ADHD. And a child with ADHD, high school was up and down, up and down, up and down. And one of my biggest concerns for him academically was just, I knew that he was going to be just fine in this world, but going to Wake Tech has convinced him that he's going to be just fine in this world, and that is huge. Yeah. My daughter has also started at Wake Tech, and that's been wonderful because, again, she's taking classes. She's
probably not doing well. She's probably doing something else.
She hasn't quite figured it out, but she will figure it out, and she's just getting such a solid education in the process. So it's a gift. You all have been a gift to our family. So thank you.
It's a special place. That's why I just feel so fortunate to be there. And you might be able to see something that sometimes I see is that, as a mom, as Adrienne Cole, Chamber Adrienne Cole, one of the things that I see special about Wake Tech is, I like to say, we're our region's ladder college. We're the largest college in North Carolina in terms of the number of people we touch, but we may not do as much in terms of talent recruitment, in that you may not move from Arizona because of Wake Tech, but if you grow up in this region, you're going to you have an opportunity to grow up into something because of Wake Tech.
Absolutely. And that opportunity to that access piece, and to be able, if you're someone who knows exactly what you want to study and you go right into it, and you want this certification or you want to pursue this degree, Wake Tech provides that opportunity. If you're someone who is like my daughter, exploring and trying to figure it out, you can do that at Wake Tech too. She's torn between, do I want to go into emergency services, which she can pursue at Wake Tech, or the arts.
She's that gamut. There's a lot in between. Maybe she'll land.
Yes, but she's able to do it in an environment that is rigorous but also very supportive. And providing that opportunity for young and old people is such an important thing for our community. And I've been able to see, I knew that before I had children who were students there, but now seeing it firsthand, it's been really special. And the other thing that I will say is, and this is a kudos to you and to your leadership and to just the culture of Wake Tech, is, you and I are friends, and I know that I can pick up the phone and call you, but I don't think I've ever had to do that, because the responsiveness of your team.
That's the way Wake Tech people are.
They care so
invested
much
in the community and the people of this community.
Yes, and so you have a question, they respond. You're feeling a little lost, and they help you find your way. And so that's been huge as well. Your team is amazing.
Well, I'm blessed to be able to be one of their colleagues. I'm blessed to be one of your colleagues.
Thank you. I feel the same way.
Thank you so much for that opportunity. Before we go, though, we do share one other thing, and I just, we probably should do a little shout out, is that, and that is North Carolina's capital city. And I'm talking about North Carolina's first capital city, New Bern. We have a little connection with New Bern.
We do have a connection with New Bern. Yep, New Bern. That's where I grew up. So moved to New Bern when I was 3. Mom and Dad still live there. Brothers are still there, and you ran the community college there.
I was president of Craven Community College, so shout out to all the Craven folks before we end here.
That's right. Go Eastern North Carolina.
Down in the county.
Down east. That's right.
Yeah, so we have some roots there. Adrienne, it is an honor to be your partner, to follow your lead as you lead us on economic development and other things, and most important, to be your friend.
Well, I feel the same way. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And to all our listeners, thank you again for joining us today on the We Are Wake Tech podcast. Podcasts at Wake Tech are available through our YouTube channel. You can access through our webpage, or also through all the different places that podcasts are available. Apple, Spotify, all the different places you go to podcasts. Look for the We Are Wake Tech podcast, and join us next month for the next episode of We Are Wake Tech.
I'm Lori Clowers with the latest news from your community's college. Only a few weeks left to apply for fall semester. Wake Tech is planning an exciting semester, and we would love for you to be a part of it. But you need to get started right away at apply.waketech.edu. It may be summer, but some incoming freshmen came to campus recently to take advantage of Wake Tech's Eagle Start Summer Bridge program. The program helps ease the transition from high school to college for students who may need a little extra support. Applications are currently being accepted for new minority and women-owned businesses for the pop-up shops at Martin Street. Tenants receive free small business counseling through Startup at Wake Tech. If you're interested, reach out to the Downtown Raleigh Alliance or go to startup.waketech.edu. Wake Tech business and IT graduates have a new opportunity to ladder up towards a bachelor's degree. The college has signed new articulation agreements with William Peace University that allow Wake Tech graduates to pursue degrees in human resources management and interactive web design. To learn more, visit transfer.waketech.edu. Congratulations are in order for 3 Wake Tech business students who earned national awards at Phi Beta Lambda's National Leadership Conference. Paco Rodriguez, Ben Saucedo, and Christy Berry took home awards for sales and business presentations, business ethics, and client services. Community leaders and business partners got an inside look at Wake Tech's new Center for Building Technologies on the Southern Wake campus. That state-of-the-art facility is home to HVAC, electrical, and the college's new building automation program. Finally, Wake Tech welcomes 2 new trustees to its board. Dr. Louis Martin Vega is Dean of NC State's College of Engineering. Former SAS executive John Boswell is Chief Operating Officer at Zoe Empowers, a global network for organizations that assist orphans and children in need. And that's the latest Wake Tech news.
My name is Latanya Parsons, and I'm the Student Money Management Coordinator here at Wake Tech. And I just want to talk to you a little bit about managing money in these challenging financial times. A lot of people often ask, what can I do to make sure I'm managing my money in the best possible way? And I just have a couple of tips that I would like to leave with you to consider. And that's the tip itself. Consider everything. So what does that mean? Look at what you're doing when it comes to your finances. Look at why are you doing it? How are you doing it? And do you need to do it at all? Or is there another way or a better way that you can be doing it? So what does that mean? We talk about budgets all the time or about credit, but look at every single detail when it comes to your finances, especially now in, again, these challenging times when prices on everything is just at record highs. So we have to consider every single thing, from our food purchases to loans and lending, the rates that we're paying on credit cards. Are we leaving balances on them? Can they be paid off? Look at everything. And often this is a conversation that we have with ourselves that I found sometimes a third party, a neutral third party, could be what's needed to help you look at your finances just a little differently. Financial coaches and counselors are absolutely available to help you with this area. And I'm so grateful that Wake Tech has this program that's able to help all Wake Tech students as they make these decisions. They're decisions that sometimes can be difficult being made alone, but there's absolutely something that all of us can do as we navigate these, difficult financial waters. We will get through it, but we have to consider all of our financial decisions.
Thank you for listening to the We Are Wake Tech podcast. Join us next month for more insightful conversations about the programs and people of Wake Tech and how the college changes lives every day. Be sure to subscribe to your favorite podcast app to have each episode delivered right to your computer or mobile device. For more, find us at podcast.waketech.edu. To learn more about Wake Tech's exceptional educational opportunities, visit waketech.edu.